Your floor is no longer yours. Introduction. In 2025, Artyom, drained from a night shift, rode the elevator to his 9th floor apartment, expecting rest. But it stopped at the 7th, opening to darkness, silence, and a hallway not his own. Walls cracked, doors unmarked, lifeless. Climbing to the 8th, he found it colder, emptier, like no one had ever lived there. On the 9th, his door waited, but the lock was reversed, opening inward from outside. His key worked, revealing his apartment, silent save for a faint kitchen light. There he saw himself sitting, calm, saying, "You already came. You just forgot." Reality twisted. His home wasn't his. Time felt lost, and the other Artyom blurred the line between who was real, leaving a mystery that haunted the building's quiet walls. Chapter 1. The Wrong Floor. A frigid November night in 2025 cloaked the city, streetlights dim against a sky heavy with unshed snow. Artyom, 36, shuffled through the courtyard of his apartment block, a tired concrete tower that loomed over cracked pavement, its edges softened by frost. Night shifts at the warehouse had left him hollow, eyes burning, body aching, his breath fogging in the air as he fumbled for keys. The lobby door creaked open, revealing a foyer lit by a single bulb, its flicker, casting shadows across chipped tiles and faded notices. He pressed the elevator button, half expecting it to fail, but it hummed to life, doors sliding open with a groan that echoed in the empty building. He stepped in, pressing 9 for his apartment, 9C, the routine so ingrained he barely thought. Home, bed, oblivion. The elevator lurched upward, cables whining, numbers ticking past, 5, 6, 7, then stopped, a soft ding breaking the quiet. The doors parted, but the display read 7, not 9, and beyond was darkness, a hallway swallowed by shadow, silent as a held breath, no sound, no life, just a void where his world should have been. Artyom frowned, thumbing the 9 button, again, but the panel stayed dead, lights dimming briefly before steadying. He stepped out, boots scuffing on dusty floorboards, expecting the familiar 7th floor, floral wallpaper, nameplates, signs of neighbors. But this was wrong. The walls were bare, yellowed, cracked like old bone. Doors blank, no numbers. No handles, just wood warped by time. The air was cold, heavy with a stale scent. Not dust, but absence, as if no one had breathed here in years. He called out, "Hello?" His voice flat, swallowed. No echo, no reply, just the hum of the elevator behind him, doors still open, waiting. He glanced back, half tempted to ride again, but the stairwell door caught his eye, a rusted frame promising a way up. 2 floors. He thought, "I'll walk." Simple, logical, a fix for a glitch in a tired night. He moved toward it, the hallway stretching longer than it should, doors multiplying in his peripheral vision, unmarked, identical, watching. The elevator dinged, doors sliding shut, leaving him alone, the hum fading, replaced by a deeper quiet, a night bending into unease he couldn't shake. The wrong floor, a puzzle he didn't yet know was his, pulling him deeper with every step he took toward stairs that weren't his either. Chapter 2. The Empty Climb. A cold November stillness in 2025 gripped the 7th floor, the hallway a tunnel of cracked walls and shadow, its silence thick, unbroken, like time itself had stopped breathing. Artyom stood by the stairwell door, hand on the rusted handle, the chill of metal biting his palm as he pushed it open, hinges groaning low, reluctant. Beyond was a narrow staircase, concrete steps worn smooth, lit by a single bulb that flickered, casting jagged shadows that moved when he didn't. He glanced back at the hallway, doors blank, walls peeling, no trace of the 7th floor he'd passed through 100 times. No neighbors, no life. Just a space that felt abandoned or, worse, waiting. His apartment was 9C, 2 floors up, a short climb to fix whatever trick the elevator had played. But doubt gnawed at him, a whisper that this wasn't just a glitch, that the building had shifted, turned inward, and he was caught in its fold, a guest in a place that knew him too well. He climbed, steps slow, boots echoing, the sound sharp but wrong, flat, swallowed, like the stairwell refused to answer. The 8th floor landing came fast, too fast, the door unmarked, its paint chipped, to bare steel, no sign of the usual graffiti or mailbox slots. He pushed through, expecting familiar carpet, the faint smell of cooking, but the hallway was barren. Walls gray, not blue, cracked deeper than before, doors featureless, no numbers, no locks, just slabs of wood that seemed to hum with a quiet he couldn't name. The air was colder here, biting, his breath visible, curling in faint wisps that vanished too quickly, and the silence was heavier, pressing his ears, his chest, urging him to keep moving, to find 9, to find home. He called again. Anyone? There? Nothing, not even his echo, just the flicker of a bulb overhead, its rhythm unsteady, like a pulse out of sync with his own. The stairwell waited behind, ahead, a choice he didn't want. But he climbed again, each step slower, the building's hum growing, not sound but feeling, a weight that settled in his bones, telling him 8 wasn't 8, 7 wasn't 7, and 9 might not be his anymore. A night bending into an empty climb that led nowhere he knew, every floor a stranger, every door a lie. Chapter 3. The Wrong Door. A cold November hush in 2025 wrapped the stairwell, the building's walls alive with a quiet that pulsed, faint but steady, under lights that flickered just enough to blur the edges of reality. Artyom reached the 9th floor landing, breath short, not from climbing, but from the weight of the floors below. 7, 8, both wrong, both empty, like stages left abandoned, props of a life no one lived. The door to 9 was different. Wood, not steel, scratched but familiar, the kind he'd passed daily. Yet it felt off, heavier, as if it held something back, or invited something in. He pushed it open, expecting his hallway. Green paint, nameplates, the faint hum of a neighbor's TV. But the corridor was silent, walls pale, cracked, peeling like skin. Doors blank save for one at the end. His, 9C, its brass number glinting under a lone bulb. The same door he'd locked that morning. Yet not. Its edges too sharp. Its presence too loud in the quiet that pressed against him, urging him forward, daring him to claim what he thought was his. He stepped in, floorboards creaking, the sound swallowed by the hum, now stronger, a rhythm in his skull, his pulse, telling him to move, to check, to know. The hallway stretched, longer than it should, doors unmarked, handles gone, just wood that seemed to watch, to wait. He reached 9C, hand trembling, and froze. The lock was wrong, reversed. The mechanism set to open inward from outside, not out. A detail that twisted his gut, a sign this wasn't home. Couldn't be. He knocked, soft at first, then harder. Hello? No answer, just the hum, the flicker, the air growing colder, thicker, like it carried a memory he didn't own. His key, warm in his pocket, felt heavier, and he tried it, half expecting failure. But it turned, smooth, the click too loud, the door easing open to reveal his apartment, or its shadow, dark save for a faint glow from the kitchen, a light he hadn't left on, a warmth that didn't belong. He stepped inside, door shutting soft behind him, locking him in, and the hum was everywhere now, in the walls, the floor, his breath. A night bending into a wrong door that fit his key. A home that wasn't his, pulling him toward a light he didn't trust, a truth he wasn't ready to face. Chapter 4. The Other Self. A cold November silence in 2025 filled apartment 9C. The buildings hum a living thing, soft but heavy, weaving through walls that seemed to lean closer, watching. Artyom stood in the entry, door shut behind him, its lock reversed, a detail that gnawed at him, a crack in the world he'd called his. The apartment was dark, air stale, carrying a scent not of home, coffee, laundry, but of time, old and still like a place forgotten, left to rot. The layout was right, couch left, hall right, kitchen ahead, but wrong, angles off, shadows too long, furniture his yet not, edges blurred as if redrawn by a stranger's hand. The kitchen light glowed, faint, yellow, a beacon in the quiet, pulling him forward, though his feet dragged, each step a fight against a fear he couldn't name, a sense that home wasn't home, that he'd crossed into something else, something that had waited for him, known he'd come, known he'd forget what it cost to arrive. He moved slow, floor creaking, the hum louder now, syncing with his pulse, his breath, a rhythm that felt stolen, shared. The kitchen doorway loomed, light spilling out, and he paused, hand on the frame, heart thudding, the silence so deep it roared, urging him to look, to know, to end the suspense that choked him. He stepped in, and there, sitting at the table, under a bulb that swayed slightly, though no air moved, was himself, another Artyom, same face, same clothes, but older, worn, eyes heavy with a weight he didn't yet carry. The other looked up, calm, unshaken, and spoke, voice low, familiar. "You already came. You just forgot." Artyom froze, breath gone, words stuck. "What? Who are you?" But the other only smiled, faint, knowing, as if he'd heard it before, answered it too many times. "You," he said, leaning forward. "Or me? Doesn't matter. You'll see." The room tightened, light dimming, shadows curling, and Artyom saw it. His life, his shifts, his keys, all mirrored in the other's eyes, a loop he hadn't known. He'd walked, a time he'd lost, or split, or left behind. The other gestured to a chair, empty, waiting, and the hum grew, the building alive, claiming them both, a night bending into another self, a question unanswered. Who sat? Who stood? Who was real? Who forgot? Left to the dark, to the floor that was no longer his.